thank you for coming for the housing panel. You are very few people who really have understood the importance of housing. There are thousands of people coming to this forum, but a very few of you have come for the housing panel. The reason why me and Francisco were discussing earlier is that the importance of housing is not understood by many people. Housing is taken for granted because many of us have a house to live. We all know where we can go after this conference. But there are many people who are living in really, really bad housing conditions. And this talk and this forum and this discussion today is about what kind of housing solutions are we looking at? What are the housing solutions which are already happening for the so-called poor people? Now, before I begin introducing the panel, I just want to give all of you a sense of what is this housing deficiency we are talking about. Just to give you an idea, 1 billion people in this world today, almost 1/7 or 1/6 of the people living in this world are living in bad housing conditions. 1 billion people. And out of which, almost 835 million people are living in the cities. In Sao Paulo, in Rio, in Mumbai, in Mexico City, we have people living in cities are facing the biggest housing challenges. 835 million people to be exact. And what is also very important to understand is 7 million people around the world are coming into cities every year. Meaning the migration into cities is 7 million people additional every year. So this figure almost looks like we need close to 180 million housing solutions. It's not new housing. It's 180 million housing solutions by year 2020. Now, what does this 180 million housing solutions mean? It could mean new housing. It could mean home improvements, right? So when we talk about new housing and home improvements, let's assume a quarter of these people, 25%, need new homes or they can afford to move to new housing. So that translates to 45 million new homes. 45 million new homes have to be built by the year 2020. And home improvement solutions, just to improve the condition of their existing homes, because they are leaking, the strength of the pillars are not good enough, they want to add an additional room, that would be approximately 90 million homes. 90 million homes would need home improvements. What does this all mean? What does all these numbers add up to? The numbers add up to a business potential of $360 billion. Right? 360 billion with a B. $360 billion as the market potential for housing. Now, that also means we need people to build these homes, right? So that we have come to a calculation, it shows 7 million masons are needed. 7 million new people have to be trained to become masons to build these houses. This is huge. The problem is not just small. In terms of a business, it is huge. In terms of innovation possibilities, it's huge. In terms of the number of people who need to get involved, it's huge. But why are we not doing it? What is stopping us from doing this? While we look at it, I think it's all in the mindset of people. Why? Because in cities like Rio, like in Sao Paulo, like in Mexico City, in Mumbai, we want people to come and help us, to do work for us, right? Many of us have maids at home, right? We all have maids who come to clean the house. We have taxi drivers. We have construction workers. We have all kinds of people, tailors, small shop owners. All of these people live in the cities to support us, the middle class and the higher class, right? But how many of us do even think for a minute, where do these people live? We don't. We take it for granted that they have to live in the city. They have to come every day to do our duties, but we don't care where they live. So that's happening in the city. So we call them the invisibles of the city, right? They don't have a place to live in the city, but we want their services. So how can we look at this huge number of people who are living in cities and provide them housing solutions? So that's why we are here today. And today, the panel is very interesting. Yesterday I repeated in the panel in the auditorium that the poor people are not just one class of poor people. We cannot say that the poor belongs to one category. It's very wrong. The poor, there are various kinds of poor people. People who need government housing. They need a government subsidy to live. There is also a group of people who need home improvements. And there is also a group of poor people who want to buy a new house. So all of these people are categorized as poor. Why? Because most of these people cannot prove their income. Today all of us can prove how much we earn. Most of us can prove how much we earn. We have a bank account, we have a tax record, we have something. But many of the people who are working as cab drivers, who are working in the informal sector, cannot prove their income. If you cannot prove your income, you cannot get a housing mortgage. So you cannot buy a new house. Or you cannot even improve your house because nobody is willing to give you a loan. Right? So these are the categories of poor people which exist. And today we are going to talk about all kinds of poor people and all kinds of housing solutions which are possible for this group of poor people. We're extremely lucky today to have Andre and Andressa from Terra Nova. Terra Nova is working in Curitiba in Brazil, where they work with the poorest of the poor. They work on property rights. They work on the community levels to mobilize property rights for the people. So they're going to share how they work with the poorest of the poor communities and help them get access to property. And then we have Francisco from Mexico. Francisco works after they have land, after they have some piece of land which they call their own. How do you mobilize the community to build their own houses? It's very empowering. It's about like do-it-yourself home. The minute you get the community to contribute to building their own home, the buy-in is much better. So Francisco is going to talk about that. And I'm going to talk about new housing model in India. How a small sector of people who are in the poor people who can and willing to afford a new house can buy a new house. So I'm going to talk about that model. So you can see we're going to address all the classes of poor people and how housing can actually help all of them. So let's start with Andre and Andressa to talk about Terra Nova and how their initiatives have been helping people.
Bem, bom dia para vocês. Para mim é um prazer estar aqui falando com vocês sobre moradia, sobre a forma de as pessoas acessarem, né, a regularidade do seu título, porque existem milhares de pessoas que hoje vivem em lugares precários e não tem acesso ao título de propriedade, não tem acesso a esse sentimento de segurança que a gente tem de ter uma casa e de estar regular nela, né? Pessoas que ocupam irregularmente áreas urbanas por necessidade, né? por falta de possibilidade de estar vivendo em um lugar regular. E essas pessoas vivem muitas vezes 10, 15 anos nessas áreas e acabam construindo suas casas, consolidando essas áreas urbanas, normalmente na periferia das cidades. Metade dessas áreas são particulares e metade são públicas, quer dizer, existe e aí passa ao governo ter um esforço enorme para regularizar essas propriedades. Mas essa metade que vive em área particular vive pressionada pelos proprietários dessas áreas para desocuparem essas propriedades. Então eles vivem sob ameaça de despejo, não têm a segurança de poder construir, consolidar de uma maneira adequada, né, à sua habitação. Então eu vou falar da experiência da Terra Nova, né, que é uma empresa social, uma empresa de regularização fundiária, e a gente faz a mediação do conflito entre esses ocupantes e os proprietários dessas áreas, para que essas pessoas possam indenizar os proprietários e acessar esse título de propriedade, e a partir disso ter a segurança de poder permanecer ali onde ela está e ter infraestrutura, melhorar a sua qualidade de vida através de sistema de água, energia elétrica, saneamento básico, porque muitas dessas áreas não são providas de infraestrutura em função dessa demanda, né, desse conflito que existe. Porque o governo, muitas vezes, não pode entrar nessas áreas ou entra de maneira muito precária para atender determinadas situações quando são muito pressionados, né, os políticos, mas não consegue levar toda a infraestrutura que essas moradias necessitam. E essas casas ficam apartadas, essas comunidades apartadas da cidade formal. Então, moradia cidadã efetivamente você integrar essas moradias à cidade e a todos os benefícios que a cidade pode conceder a esse grupo de pessoas, a essa comunidade. E o trabalho da Terra Nova é mediar, né? E a gente fazer a mediação significa você organizar uma comunidade, você fortalecer as lideranças, você sensibilizar aquela comunidade para que ela faça ela acreditar de que ela pode ser agente de transformação da sua própria realidade. Isso é fundamental, né? Porque a gente entende que isso só vai ser feito em escala na medida que esse esforço parta da própria população, que a população se empodere da capacidade de se transformar, de mudar a sua realidade, e a partir disso, né, a gente é um mecanismo, a Terra Nova é um mecanismo facilitador desse processo, onde a gente ajuda essa comunidade a se mobilizar, a se fortalecer e, a partir disso, a se unir numa negociação com um proprietário, né? E, às vezes, você tem que sensibilizar o proprietário, você tem que fazê-lo entender de que ele não deve mais buscar retomar aquela propriedade, porque não faz mais sentido, né? E, sim, obter aquilo que ele puder obter de valor, né? Através dessa indenização. Então, essa atividade esse empoderamento, eu acho que é a grande chave, não só para resolver o problema de moradia, né, mas para resolver diversos outros problemas da nossa sociedade. Eu acho que a gente trabalhar nesse empoderamento e que as pessoas se apropriem dessa capacidade de transformação e a gente buscar esses agentes facilitadores dentro desse processo é o que vai fazer com que nós possamos atender a escala, né, atender esse problema na escala que ele se apresenta dentro da nossa sociedade. Então, eu vou passar a palavra para a Andressa também, para falar um pouco, porque ela trabalha com a Terra Nova, trabalha nessa área de comunicação, é quem faz esse link com a população também, e a gente constrói esse processo junto a cada dia.
Bom, rapidamente vou falar sobre a minha experiência com a Terra Nova, o contato com os moradores dessas comunidades, né, e como para eles é rico ver que uma comunidade que não tinha nada, que era consolidada numa área completamente vazia, com ruelas, com esgoto a céu aberto, com luz elétrica irregular, e, de repente, eles verem isso transformado. Eles receberem isso, a importância deles receberem uma correspondência com o CEP no seu próprio endereço, não precisarem mais emprestar um endereço do vizinho ou de um parente para receber uma carta, eles terem um endereço próprio. A importância deles terem um meio-fio, porque isso auxilia que a água não entre mais, a água da chuva não entre mais dentro da casa da pessoa quando chove. Uma coisa que para nós é tão simples, mas que para eles é muito rico. Então, vou falar um pouco disso, desse meu contato com esses moradores e das coisas que eles me contam e de como eles enxergam isso.
So can you I think it was fantastic to hear, but if you can take maybe one example, one family or one community which has really benefited and how they actually moved from their previous position to a new position, and what did Terra Nova do for it? So if you can just give us one example, I think everybody will be able to understand it better.
Posso dar um exemplo de uma comunidade que nos procurou em São Paulo, que o proprietário havia entrado com o processo de reintegração de posse e essas famílias, e ele começou a derrubar essas casas, né? Uma comunidade com, eram 100 famílias, né? E os tratores começaram a derrubar essas casas e eles conseguiram se unir, foram até a prefeitura para pedir para a prefeitura fazer alguma coisa por eles, né? A subsecretária disse, olha, nós não temos condição de desapropriar essa área, não está dentro do nosso programa, porque essas áreas particulares só podem ser, o governo só pode intervir se houver desapropriação, né, se ele conseguir desapropriar essas áreas. Então, como não havia condição de fazer isso, não estava dentro do programa, e também não há dinheiro para se fazer desapropriação na escala que isso acontece no Brasil. Então, eu disse, olha, eu conheço uma empresa que faz mediação desse tipo de conflito. Vocês querem tentar, né, com eles? E aí, eles nos indicaram, a gente entrou dentro do processo e rapidamente conseguimos chamar o proprietário. O proprietário disse, olha, eu até concordo, né, em negociar, o que eu não quero é perder esse bem, né, eu concordo em fazer essa negociação, né, não é minha vontade tirar essa população de lá, mas eu também não posso pegar e deixar aquela terra que para nós, né, é valiosa, porque a gente muitas vezes acha que o proprietário é sempre o especulador, e nem sempre é, né? Então, mas eu quero fazer um acordo. Então, a gente faz a mediação, eu passei a mediar esse acordo, né? Em 30 dias a gente conseguiu chegar num preço, porque normalmente o proprietário quer muito e a população quer pagar bem pouquinho, né? Isso é natural. E a gente conseguiu chegar num preço e num prazo, né? Porque daí a população tem que pagar aquilo em 5 anos, 10 anos, dependendo do preço que for, para caber no bolso das pessoas, né? E elas possam aportar. E a gente conseguiu chegar nisso, mas tem toda uma técnica, esse acordo que a gente construiu, né, ao longo desses 10 anos de trabalho, tem toda uma metodologia que assegura a questão da aprovação do parcelamento, assegura que a gente não vai regularizar ninguém que está em área de risco, em área de preservação permanente, enfim, né? E como você vai depois discutir com a prefeitura o projeto urbanístico, para que você possa efetivamente entrar com essa infraestrutura, com água, energia elétrica, tem que ter uma organização, né? Tem que ter um levantamento topográfico, um planejamento junto com a prefeitura, para entender as diretrizes da prefeitura, uma série de coisas. Mas o principal é, quer dizer, esse acordo compõe toda essa questão, inclusive de registro, porque é um negócio bastante complexo. Depois, como você vai registrar esse parcelamento? Cada um paga o seu, né? Na nossa metodologia, cada um paga o seu. Então, se o vizinho não paga e aquela pessoa paga, aquele que pagou vai ter seu título, né? E o vizinho, uma hora, vai ter que pagar se ele quiser permanecer e continuar ali. Obviamente, a gente tem mecanismos sociais que as pessoas que não podem pagar ou que você estende o prazo lá do valor que efetivamente a pessoa possa aportar. A gente busca que todo mundo aporte alguma coisa, porque para a pessoa também se sentir contribuindo naquele processo, que é um processo por bem de todos. Então, aí quando a gente chegou com esse acordo para o juiz, porque essa população fez um piquete na frente do fórum, né, quando viu que os tratores estavam derrubando as casas, fez um piquete na frente do fórum, botaram faixas e pediram para o juiz, pelo amor de Deus, para parar com para dar uma suspensão naquela desocupação. E o juiz, sensibilizado pela situação, né, mesmo que tendo que atender o direito de propriedade daquela pessoa, mas sensibilizado com a situação, disse, olha, eu dou 30 dias para vocês buscarem um acordo. E depois, quando a gente levou esse acordo para o juiz, o juiz disse, olha, eu dei aqueles 30 dias, eu nunca achei que esse povo ia conseguir fazer um acordo com o proprietário em 30 dias, porque todos os casos que vêm aqui disso aí, a gente não encontra solução, né? Ainda mais um acordo que previa todas aquelas etapas, né, de execução. E ele disse, olha, esse tipo de acordo você tem que levar para o Tribunal de São Paulo, isso aqui tem que ser institucionalizado aqui, né, no Estado, porque processos como esse a gente vê aqui no Judiciário e não tem fim, né, e a gente precisa de uma solução como essa. Então, a partir disso, essa população está pagando o proprietário, indenizando, recebeu água, energia elétrica, enfim, as benfeitorias começaram a chegar e hoje elas vivem em uma situação bem melhor, né, e continuam pagando ainda, né, até concluir e a gente conseguir fazer a transferência e assegurar o título de propriedade para todos eles.
Thank you. So, So please prepare your questions. We'll come back to the questions, and also we'll ask more questions to Andre in a minute. So let's turn to Francisco from Mexico. So he works with urban as well as rural communities in enabling housing for and self-construction. So, Francisco.
Thank you very much. It's really an honor to be here, and thank you very much for all the organizers to put together this magnificent event. It's really amazing. Thank you very much to Ashoka. Ashoka invited me, and Ashoka really has been one of the greatest things that have happened in my life. And also thank you very much for the people from the front desk that disguised me for the next carnival in Rio. I'm ready. As you can see in the room, there are more women than men. It's something like almost 90% are women and 10% are men. And that's a reason because of that. Housing belongs to the women. The women belong to the house, and it's the way, and it's the space where the family is going to develop. We men think in housing in economic terms. The house is $10,000, $100,000, $1 million, and I can sell it to 20% more. Women said, if you sell it, I kill you. So that's the difference. That's the main difference, and we are going to talk about it. In the world, there are around 1 billion houses and 7 billion people. So we have an equation that it's not quite correct. I'm quite sure that Vishnu knows each of the billion houses. He has been there to each one of them. And he also has been to Tlatlauquitepec. Tlatlauquitepec is the one you have in the photo. Please don't try to repeat Tlatlauquitepec because you're going to get a notch in your tongue. And Vishnu was here. This is Nancy's home. The little girl, the third one with the T-shirt, the white T-shirt, the smallest one, is Nancy's daughter. Who is Nancy? Nancy, it's the mother of this girl. She is not married. When she started all this, she was working in the community. This is a community, and working in the market, loading a truck of oranges, and has that kind of works. She was born in a carton board house in a slum there in Tlatlauquitepec, and she lived in a soil floor with another 9 people each night, and she didn't know who was his father or his grandfather or his uncle or his compadre, no, someone's friend. And she lived there, and when little Nancy was born, little Nancy lived with her mother under the same roof in this kind of messy situation. So how did Nancy spin from this situation to her new house? Nancy worked in the program, Échale a tu casa, which means put your heart into your home. And she learned how to produce the material, and she learned how to build the home. And Nancy now has a social impact franchise. So she continues with other people from the community, building the homes, building the houses, and home improvements for other people. Why we need home improvements? The Nancy situation was something like this, but in flat. Tlatlauquitepec is a flat place. But these people has made a huge effort, economic effort, and huge labor effort to have one of these homes, so to speak, and so to say that this is a home. And it took them something like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years to have one of these rooms where maybe 9, 10, 11 people sleep every night. And it's the most expensive construction in the world. The self-built construction without a guidance and without blueprints and without technical assistance. Nancy was here. So Nancy now is working in another thing, and she, even despite her youngest, she's 22. At that time she was 20. Despite being so young, She now commands a community of 5,000 people, and she has helped 800 families to have her own home. Really, really amazing, really impressive, the way that social inclusion provides a solution for all this. So what's Échale a tu casa? What's this program? Échale a tu casa, it's not philanthropy. It's not a giveaway program. It's not assistencialism. Échale a tu casa is a development program. It's a impact investment program where the people work, get paid to produce the material, and get paid to build the home. That's very important. And they have to pay back for the loan. They have a loan in certain conditions, very accessible. And even though they don't have a guarantee, a collateral for the loan, they have to pay for it, and they have the loan. Why? Because Nancy has lived there for 1,000 years. When this photo was took, Nancy was behind me, and she said to me, you know, Francesco, there is a huge difference now. I was born in a carton board house, in a shack. My parents were born also in a shack. And these little girls and boys were born in the same shack. And now they are not going to allow themselves to live in a shack because they already know how to build a house. They saw us, they help us. Little Nancy helped the mother with a bucket full of soil, walking into the machine and pouring some soil into the machine, helping the mother to produce the material. The material is compressed earth block. It's a soil cement, soil lime, compress it, and it's much more stronger than a concrete block. I know this sounds like crazy, but it is. It's technical, so it's proved. So what is Échale a tu casa? Échale a tu casa, it's an impact development program that provides jobs, that pays for the people to produce the material, and pays for the people, for the families, to build the homes, and also for the, Échale a tu casa has four main axles. One is social inclusion and social organization. Why is that? Because the community has to be organized around the problem of the housing. They have the piece of land, and they also already provide the community with a safe land to build a home. So we have a piece of land. But we need everything else to produce the house and to build the land. So we need to arrange all the community to work together in this housing arrangement and production and construction. That's the first axis, social inclusion. The second one is financial education. People said, no, they are so poor. Look how poor they are. They can pay. Nancy's income was something like $1,200 per year, and even though she managed to save money and to pay back the loan. Now she has a better job, and he can pay easily the loan for her house. But it works, and it works for the poorest people that is willing to work and to provide a solution for the family. That's the second axle, financial education. The third one is technical training. They are trained to produce the material is very easy, and they are trained to build the house, which is, it's very natural to the human being, the construction. And the fourth one is replica through a social franchise. Why is that needed? Because Vishnu gave us the figures of the lack of housing around the world. Not even all the construction companies in the world can provide a solution just for the housing. Forget about the highway, the dams, the buildings, everything. Just for the housing, all the construction companies around the world can provide a solution. So who is going to provide the solution? The same community. They are trained, they have their financials all together now, and they can work for the neighbor to have a new home. That's the replica, social franchise. Then, why Nancy does need eco-friendly materials? This is very important. Why Nancy needs eco-friendly material and not industrialized material? Because Nancy can produce in the community eco-friendly materials. The industrialized materials they need it. They need water tanks and doors and everything. But most of the components of a home can be produced in the community and can be eco-friendly. And this provides economic spillover into the community. If Nancy goes, she couldn't and she can't to a Walmart or a Home Depot and buy whatever she needs for the home and build a home, this would not exist. Every home would be a palace. But that's not the reality. The reality is that industrialized materials only provide economic spillover to the industrialized world. They don't provide economic spillover to the community. Eco-friendly materials can be produced in the community and they provide economic spillover and jobs and jobs creation for the people from the community. That's why Nancy needs eco-friendly material. Why the huge construction housing companies don't use eco-friendly materials? Because they say, no, they are too expensive. The paint without solvents and VOC is too expensive. Yeah, it's too expensive for them. We can pay it. No, we all together pay it with our health and with our taxes and the pollution around the world. That's why they don't use it, and Nancy can use it for sure. The other thing is that the most Nancy uses eco-friendly material and less industrialized material, the most economic spillover she is going to have in her community. Then, why Nancy needs social inclusion? This is the most important. Social inclusion has to be like football, soccer. The world has fight through the humanity, the history, to provide social exclusion. There are laws for social exclusion, the apartheid, please, you just name it, and there is going to be social exclusion. My comparison is, that's American football. American football is so complicated that you need a whole equipment around you. You must go to the university to know how to play American football. It's only played in one country in the world. And the rules are so complicated that not even the referees know how to rule the play. Football, soccer is very easy. And the rules are very simple. Don't put your hand into the ball. Don't try to get ahead of the other. Don't play in offside, and that's it. And let's play it. And let's everybody have a lot of fun and a lot of sport. That's social inclusion. Social inclusion has to be the same. Why Nancy needs social inclusion? First, because they will have a power of negotiation in front of the authority. Yeah, if Nancy tried to make this by herself, the authority is not going to listen to her. I need water, I need sewage, I need electricity. Yes, Nancy, but we have a lot of problems. If all the community goes together in a social inclusion way, they are going to have, the authority are going to listen, the government are going to listen, Nancy and the bunch. And then the second one is they can have financial inclusion also. The homeless people are financially excluded to a credit. And saving is not enough to pay for the home, but saving can do a lot of things. Can do rotating savings, or tandas as we call it in Mexico. And they have also this new way of use saving from the community as a guarantee fund. They don't have the collateral, but they have this guarantee fund made out with the saving of the people from the community. And also, they have the chance to get trained and the chance to build a home. Everything through social inclusion. That's why social inclusion is so important to avoid the deficit of housing around the world. Then we have used thousands of Nancys in Mexico and in some other places. We have built something like 180,000 solutions to Mexico and other countries between housing, guided self-built housing, and home improvements. And finally, Finally, Nancy got married. She was a single mother. Nancy got married with the father of her daughter, which means that no mother around the world is perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the story. I have a question. You mentioned that you pay the community to build their homes. So you're paying somebody to build their own home. I want to know how. And you also mentioned that they're going to get a housing loan or a mortgage. So I don't know how this works. So
okay.
Can you just give an example of how did you help Nancy on the finance part?
Yes, the financial work like this. We have 3 steps: saving, credit, and subsidy. Subsidy, like subsidy all around the world, sometimes it's there, sometimes it is not. If we don't have subsidy, the term of the loan has to increase. In subsidy, in Mexico, we have subsidy for any kind of homes. This means if Carlos Slim wants to go to the government for his loan, for his subsidy, he can do it, even though here he is only going to switch the doorbell of his home, but he has a subsidy to do so. But it works, and it works pretty nice. Sometimes the subsidy dries, so we need more term. So how does it work? People has to start to save 5 to 10% of the cost of the solution, home improvement or a complete home. When the group is all together, a group of 20, 30 homes at the time, we start to work. And the credit is provided by a financial intermediary. We go into the market. There are now, with the popular finance, there are thousands of financial intermediaries, and we negotiate the term and the interest rate of the loan that is going to provide to the house. Which is the collateral? The collateral is the saving from the people. The collateral, the financial entity, intermediary, they are going to say, but who is going to guarantee me for the loan? They don't own the land. They have the right to build in the land, but they don't own the land. So, but we have this collateral guarantee fund that if Nancy does not pay, the fund is going to pay you, and Nancy is going to provide the payback. To do so, we create a housing commission in each community, a housing committee. And every week they get together to see who works, who pay, who didn't pay. If Francesco went to see the football, to see the Chicharito play at the national championship and drink some beers, the people from the community will know. And I didn't pay because I was partying with my friends. So the housing commission is going to say, well, Francesco didn't pay, so he must pay a fee, an additional fee for the fund. But in the meantime, the fund pay for the loan, so we don't have this domino effect if someone does not pay. And in the community, everybody wants everybody to pay, because why my neighbor is not paying and has the same right that I have? I'm paying and I'm working. So it works pretty good.
Thank you. Thank you. So we'll come to questions in a minute. So I thought for my share, I'll share with you a story from India. I know that there is a very famous soap opera in Brazil, which talks about India and Brazil, right? Yeah. So it's also famous in India. We know it because I was just sharing that a Brazil colleague from Ashoka, Brazil, came to India for 2 years, and she got married to an Indian guy. So anyway, so you must have seen something in that story where they show the slums. I just want to share with you one story of, similar to Nancy, there is a lady called Tulsi. So Tulsi lives in the city of Ahmedabad, in the western side of India. She works as a tea lady in an NGO. You know, she goes and makes tea. And she's been working in that NGO for 10 years, just making tea. And the husband of Tulsi drives a tuk-tuk. You know the tuk-tuk? The famous tuk-tuk of India. So he drives a tuk-tuk. So together, Tulsi and her husband earn 15,000 rupees a month, which is close to $300 a month. So they earn $300 a month and they stay in the slum. So like this family of Tulsi and her husband, in every city there are millions of families in India. In India everything is multiplied by 100, right? Because the sheer number of people. So there are millions of people in each city who are like this category of people who are earning between $300 and $500 a month. So the general perception is, what can you provide as a house for somebody who's earning $300? So we did a calculation, right? So the universal calculation is that 30% of your income you can pay for mortgage. It's true for us, right? 30 to 40% of our salary we can pay for mortgage. It's a universal formula. So this family who's earning $300, 30% is $100. So they can actually pay $100 as mortgage. And normally in India the mortgage is for 15 years. You can get a mortgage loan for 15 years. And with whatever interest rate, if you pay $100 mortgage, you can get $10,000 as loan. Right? So if you pay $100 a month as mortgage amount, the loan you can get is $10,000 for 15 years, right? With an average of 12 to 13% of interest. So now, $10,000 in India is a good enough sum to buy a house. But in the cities, nobody is making those houses. Why? No developer is making a house available for $10,000. $10,000 in India translates to 500,000 rupees. You know, it's Indian rupees is 500,000. It's still a good amount of money, but nobody is making. Why? So, but then we started understanding, why is nobody making a house? The biggest challenge is whether Tulsi can get a mortgage. Why? Because Tulsi does not have income statement. Tulsi cannot prove her income. She's working as a tea woman, right? And the husband is driving a tuk-tuk. So they cannot show how much they are earning. There is no proof of income. So nobody gives them a mortgage. And because there is no mortgage, nobody builds a house. So it's a loop, right? So we said, how do we solve this problem? So we took this problem to a land developer, a real estate guy, right? A real estate developer. And we said, listen, there is a huge opportunity. There are millions of people like Tulsi who can buy a house. Can you build a house for $10,000? They said, yes, if we can see profit, we will do it, obviously. If they make profit, they will build a house. But they have a bigger challenge, is they don't know Tulsi. They have never dealt with the Tulsi. Even though Tulsi is known in the city, but nobody has dealt with Tulsi and her husband. So who knows these people is the NGOs. NGOs are dealing with Tulsi and her husband for something else, not for housing. So we said, can we partner the real estate developer with the NGO to bring the Tulsis to the organization? So first problem solved. To identify the Tulsis of India, we partnered with an NGO. Ashoka Fellows helped us to identify Tulsis. The second problem, who's going to give the mortgage? So we worked with housing finance companies to bring them to provide mortgage for Tulsis. Why? You have to be innovative. You cannot think the regular way you think for us. For us, we can show a tax statement, we can show an income statement, but they don't have it. So how do you show them? You have to understand how to judge Tulsi. Can you go to the NGO and check how long has she been working? Can you check how long this guy has been driving the tuk-tuk? How much money he makes? All of that can be documented over a period of time. So you document that, then you get a mortgage for them. So what Ashoka has been doing is we have gone to cities, we have brought together real estate developers, we have brought together NGOs, we have brought together housing finance companies to provide housing. So far, we are working in 7 cities. We have produced 10,000 houses. So 10,000 houses in the last 3 years seems to be a big number. All of us are happy. 10,000 houses is not small in India, but unfortunately in India it's nothing. In India, the demand for such houses is 25 million. So what is 10,000? Is not even a drop in the ocean. So now we are struggling to see how we can do at least 5 million homes. So we can't do that, you know. So 5 million homes, even this 10,000 homes translates to $120 million in market value. 25 million homes would mean $250 billion. We cannot do it alone. So we have to inspire a lot of people to get into housing. So that's what we are doing in India right now. We have shown pilots that it works. So now we are scaling across the country and hoping hundreds of developers would do affordable housing. And these houses are ground plus 3. These are ground plus 3 without an elevator, because the elevator adds maintenance cost. So it's ground plus 3 without an elevator. And number 2, what can you provide for $10,000 is between 25 square meters and 50 square meters. That's the size of the house. And these are all in the urban areas, not in the rural areas. And the most important, what you saw common across the theme is that it's completely market-based. There is no subsidy. Because it is mortgage, like all of us can go and get mortgage, similarly, Tulsi got her mortgage. So it's completely a market-based model. There is no government subsidy at all, or there is no philanthropy by any chance. It's completely paid by the customer. And so we really want to scale up to all over the country, and this model is also applicable across the global south. If we can do it in India, it's also applicable in Mexico. We spoke about it in Mexico as well. It's applicable in Bangkok. It's applicable in Sao Paulo. So this is the model which we are working in right now. So please prepare your questions, and we will come to you and you can ask your questions. Meanwhile, I have a question for Andre. The way you described it seems to be very easy. You know, oh, I just talk to the community agrees, I talk to the landowner agrees, my job is done. I know it's not that easy. I know there is a lot more challenges than, you know, just simply talking to them. So what are the challenges you face while working with the communities?